Bro. Bro. Yo! Hello. Sup? How's everyone? How is everyone doing? Oh my god, am I small? I'm so tiny. Let's make me bigger. Yeah, baby. Okay. Hey. Yo, what's up? So, hi everyone. Hi everyone. How's it going? Because I have to say, today's going great. It was going great. Work was fun today. We did a lot of stuff. I talked a lot of stuff about other people. And then I came home. I just made something healthy to eat. And now I'm here sitting, doing some writing. Yesterday was good as well. There's like a lot of stuff that happened yesterday. Well, I talked a lot of stuff with like friends yesterday. Don't go too much into detail, but yesterday was a bit weird because yesterday it started very good and then ended very poorly. Dude, yesterday I'm just like going home from my friends, and in Germany it started pouring all of a sudden. Like we had like a very big like period where it was like very much like a drought because it was like so little rain. And then yesterday it just like started pouring like crazy. I'm not even kidding. I think that was like one of the worst rains I was in up to this point. I was like in the middle of like a slight storm. Like I flipped through like seeing rocks fly through the air and stuff like that. I've seen this. Right, because I was like back in the day. Oh my god, that was also stupid. That's a story for another time. But like I was like convinced I need to go to the gym, and I need to go like 10 to 15 minutes to my gym. So I was like walking there, and there was like a storm warning, and my parents said don't go, and I was like it will be fine. There's so many houses, nothing happens. And they were like, the wind was so heavy that nearly my bag flew off, and like the stones of like the parking spaces, they are like basically like just ground and stone. They were like flying through the air like slightly, and so they were like the small rocks were like absolutely flying through the air and just like hitting me and stuff like that. Was awful, but that doesn't matter. Yesterday was the rain so bad I needed to like use both my hands to do like basically to shield my eyes from the rain so I could even see, right? And then like doing that, I had my headphones with me. I did not have an umbrella, sadly, so I had my headphones with me, right? And I used the headphones and just like put them as protected as possible because I was like, oh shit, the headphones, I don't know, not that they got broken. And so it was like so wet, like from top to bottom. It was like as if I would have jumped in a pool. I'm not even kidding, like with clothes. It was awful. And then I was sitting in the bus, putting my headphones on. I was like, oh, at least they're like semi-dry, right? They're as dry as can be. I turn them on and I just hear like scratching noise and like not really sound. I was like, no, this cannot be. Because my headphones were like kind of expensive. My everyday headphones. And I was like, oh, this can't be, dude. No, right? And so I went home and I got late to bed because what I did was I used city cup heads, basically a lot of them, just screwed the screws of my headphone open so I could see a little bit of the electronics, try to dry everything like what I could dry reasonably without like disassembling it completely. Put city cup heads in like a container and just like put the headphone in there. And today in the morning it semi worked, and then the left speaker gave out, and I was like, oh damn it, dude, shit. I was like angry, right? And then I said, okay, let's keep it in the silica pad thing, put it like somewhere where like the box, because it's transparent, a little bit in the sun, just like so it dries off better maybe. And then now my headphones are working again. I am still in the guarantee part of my warranty, basically. I used to have like warranty on that, so I could like exchange it possibly. but I don't know. I need to see if I can, because I have like this like extended warranty thing and with like water damage and stuff like that. So I will probably switch them out with like new ones. So I'm just like getting new ones before the warranty runs out, because I know my luck. 5 days after the warranty runs out, boom, gone, right? So yeah, that was my evening yesterday. Then I went like home and I just like went to like dried myself up, put everything on my coat hangers and stuff like that, put them like somewhere where they could like in my bathroom, where they could just like get dry again, dry them up, because outside you could not dry them even though it was like a little bit warm. Then that was my evening yesterday, but today was great. Today was good. Since today I'm trying, at least, except for like one cheat day a week, I allow myself that, to like lose a bit of weight again. So I'm losing weight because I saw myself in the mirror and I was like, Anyway, what I am on about is it doesn't matter. My day was good. I had a good day. Let's see how tomorrow works, because the second day is always the hardest. And if my brain says no, you need to eat, which is like one of my biggest weaknesses. But today I was like very honest with like one of my apprentices. We talked about the topic, and I was like, dude, I have this like weird inhibition, or like this like weird loss of control when it comes to like stress eating, and also when it comes to like eating out of boredom. I've like those two I definitely have. And that's why I have the weight, because I just like, sometimes when I'm like stressed, I just go out and just like buy like, I don't know, 800 to 900 calories of food and just eat them. And apparently my dopamine is like, yeah, that's right, but it's not the right way at the moment. I have gained so much weight over the last years. I've gained like literally 40 kilos. I think I told that about, like, after that I pretty much was stagnant. But I want to lose the weight again. I want to be like very much lighter. But yeah, that's me. That's me at the moment. Anyways, riding, right? We're riding. So last time, this also coincides with the story from yesterday. Yesterday, I used the bus drives. I was on the bus rides to ride the centaur law, right? Just centaurs, so much centaurs. So I was like, yeah, sure, centaurs. And now we are at the point where I have written a little bit. I think we stopped yesterday. We stopped like 2 days ago at this. And I wrote these few lines. I was thinking about this very, very hardly, but I think we went a little bit far. I also revised like a little bit, not much. I just like killed like one line where it sounded like, oh, the centaurs were reuniting again, and that I just killed because it was stupid. Because after that it was like, oh yeah, the centaurs are like they're split up, right? But I want them to be like in these clans and have like this like traveling hub they use with them, like basically like a giant caravan of raiders that stay on the planet's surface. I think that is what I want to stick with. So I was like, oh yeah, what would they do before the Aetherflood, right? Right before that. And my idea would be that the clans moved away from being stationary. I still don't know what this means, uncoving, because I don't know. And being stagnant and unmoving, yeah, was what got them beat by the orcs. I think I want to stick with this. That is their lesson, because this goes into this. But only later, just like a little bit later. I just want to get you up to speed. If we want to change something, again, it is, we can't change this. It's just like what I imagine it, right? And we said that once they became nomadic again, they made a very bad name for themselves, attacking settlements of Eolchina and focusing on those. who were necromancers in brutal acts of punishment. The accusation being feeding into the undead giant. We should, however, say they purpose. No, fucking hell. Okay, 1 second. Thank you. They purposefully stayed away from the lizard folk, trying to stop another orcish incident to happen. I think they will not attack the lizard folk, right? Because they're not stupid. They like those scalies are weird, dude. Like we have them like always trying to like keep the distance to the lizard folk, and I think they would still do this, especially with their like numbers being a bit lower, right? Then they would go on to like send the children out to seek the giants. Just like, oh yeah, Stevie, you are talented. Go seek the giants, become the avatar, right? And then they just like get smacked by giants or by anything else because they're like just like lone wanderers. And they would do these practices until the hand was fired. I think when the hand fires, everything changes for everybody somewhat, like a lot. But many of the clans taking up specialties to keep Centaur society as a whole stable because they become very isolationist. Like they just like pillage to have resources, but other than that, they don't want to stick with anyone else, right? And then fire and metal clans would be crafting, air and wood tending to nature, earth military training, water general logistics and magic. This is what I took basically from logistics strategy would also be one. Well, I think I give that to Earth with strategy, with the military training, because basically what we had, what my player who wrote the Centaurs in an older setting said was like, oh yeah, fire was crafting, air was like basically what clerics and druids were, then like earth was like basically everything that was like military and paladins back in like in 5e at least. That's also true. Yeah. But yeah, so like I just basically took the idea from like the player and just like added the wood and the metal because those are two gates you can have as a kineticist. So I would like have these in here. Those attuned to the gates were with like two gates because there's like twin gated kineticists. I call them bridges. I think that is like the best word I can come up with right now. And they are basically like the diplomats between the clans, right? They're like just like bondsmiths who are like envoys. We can call envoys, yeah. Let's call them envoys. They just like basically like you have like a lot of like people running between the clans and working with both, and this like connects them very hard, right? So like so the centaur, the main centaur force is united. They all do different shit, but they need to work together. Otherwise, they just get like if they split up at this point in time, I think they would just get like murked because they don't want to have the scavengers running around. I think the elves would be like very well, not only the elves, but like everyone would be like very like, oh, let's kill the pillagers, please. Especially before they ally with the lizard folk, right? Which they obviously won't do, but like, well, who knows, right? And also, I think the halflings at this point. Did we didn't we like use the? No, we did not. What did we not do? You mean they? I'm a little bit like, whoa. Okay, whoa. If they can or cannot do this, and this time is irrelevant to the scattered centaurs. What I want to say with didn't we? Because I interpreted yours to like say, yo, the lizard folk conducted a large-scale blight ritual to create the desert they currently inhabit, like, the ones of the lizard folk, right? You mean that one? And didn't we say? I mean, we can change this, but we just said like it's like a volcanic desert. So it would be a natural desert at this point. We can make it like the blight desert, right? We can do this. We can also say the volcanic. We can also say the volcanic land basically like they kept the land because yeah, no, it's fine. I'm like thinking maybe the exactly, but maybe they did on purpose. They did purposefully just like blight it again. I mean, they could just stop the fertilization, right? But for what reason would they do this is the question. Because we said they were scavengers, right? So they would not just nuke their own resources. That would be weird. Yeah, I know, but we're interacting with it. That I was just like thinking. Okay. Maybe to make the I'm thinking maybe to make the Centaurs a little bit more afraid of the lizard folk. We could could we make it so that the lizard folk would do a warning shot on them? We can make like an area baron, right? But would the lizard folk at the moment do this? Thinking. I need to think about that. Anyways, when the animals fire, them remain mostly unharmed. I think with this we should be absolutely going into how they like, since they are constantly on the move, they just like don't have a problem with avoiding this. They don't need to save anything, right? Consistently on the move. With the Sentinels being consistently on the move, they were not bound to one particular place and were not above abandoning huts and homes they could not save. Some of the slower and weaker members of the clans died during the flood, but when it came to outrunning cataclysmic event, the centaurs were unbeatable. So, basically, I want them to be pretty much unarmed because they got like kicked 15 times already. I think with the many times they were like smashed and just like reduced in numbers again. I think them being like one of the few that like did not get affected by the flood too much is fine, because everyone will still hate them. Like the Aetherflood does not much does not add much in like, oh yeah, no, the centaurs are kind of cool. They're like still the pricks who raided us last week, right? And they're coming back with a vengeance. So I'm thinking that the centaurs should be like basically excluded from like the entire we find cities together, and we found cities together, and we make metropolises that fly. I think they should like be excluded from this. To like the Ezekoans at this time, they're basically just like smarter monsters, right? So one of the other people of Ezeko struggled. The centaurs committed more crimes against them by further raiding their already well, that basically we're raiding their makeshift villages. And I think now is when we can insert what you said earlier with the lizard folk, because I think that they need a warning shot now. because that's what I think that's what the lizard folk would do now. They're just like fucking around with like these like all these like small groups of people, and the lizard folk are okay, dude. If they come too close, let's fuck them over. Let's kill the horsies, right? As a warning and in retaliation, the lizard folk would cast a blight ritual in one of the well planes, right? Centaurs we're using to coordinate attacks from. This turned the grass to nothing more than the grass and the flora to nothing more than dead plants and the once rich ground into, well, dirt, right? The centaurs, well, I think they would back off at this point. I know the resources are sparse, but they are still like, they're like on the uptick right now, right? So what I'm thinking is that the centaurs would just, would the centaurs just go back and just go into like hunting and gathering? Would they just like get fucked up so much? Or like, would they just take this warning shot as like, okay, if we keep this up and piss off the lizard folk more, we are dead, dude. Because we are like, because the Aetherflood happened, right? We're like in like a 2-year time span. And in this 2-year time span, after this, the War of Unity starts and the Flesh Warp happen. And I think what they do is be opportunistic and just scavenge like both factions as like a third faction. I think. Give me 1 second. The centaurs would reduce the numbers of raids performed on the villages that had a sizable lizard folk population and turned their attention to old outposts of gnomish and goblin origin. I think they would just become looters for a limited time, like literally like 1 or 2 years, like nothing special. They would just like loot the old outpost, what they can loot. And that's when they just like, at least like what is salvageable, right? Because like those are like fucked up. But that's where they would actually like stay with like at this point in time, and then the War of Unity would start. First Flash Warp emerged from the underground. I don't know how we still, if we still call it like something. We said basically we would call it. Well, we should use the actual words for this, right? Do we have it here? We said like shade. Oh, we said like right canopy, cradle. I don't know why cradly. What cradle? And then at the moment we said gloom, right? I still don't think. I still like gloom the best. I'm thinking about if this one would see where that fits better, but let's say gloom. To conquer the surface. The centaurs play their no, the centaurs did what they could do best: outrun, outmaneuver, and outsmart. This would open up the opportunity of the centaurs not only looting changeling outposts when possible, but also strike at the forces of the Unity, who were ill-prepared for a fight against both factions at the same time. And I think in the War of Unity, we are just like, we're smacking the centaurs. They have at the moment very many wins, and they need losses. Because I feel like they get like slapped so hard now that like up until modern times, like people just don't want to interact with them. And if there's like an envoy to a city, there should be like definitely like a little bit of a stigma. Well, not only a little bit. There should definitely be a stigma, right? Well, like centaurs, I think a centaur, if we like at the moment we have like three metropolises, we need to write a few more, but that just like exist, but those are the main three. I think in Haven a centaur would be accepted a little bit better than saying Garden. Or in Remedy. I think like those two cities are just like made out of like people who were like gotten so many times by like enemy raiders that like the bad reputation of the centaurs would like put them in a very bad spot, I think. But that's just my thinking. Anyway, let's go back to where we prepare to fight both sides at the same time. With warnings ignored. The lizard folk struck back hard. Forces of undead were well, they were overwhelming. Well, they were not overwhelming. Were used to attack. Hey, you don't need to be sorry, dude. I'm happy that you're here. I'm very, very much happy that you're here. So anyway, I don't know when you stopped. When you were away. I'm just like I just said. I think we can put the blight ritual right around here when they're like everyone is like split up in like the small villages after the flood, and then the lizard folk just blight like one of their planes. They just coordinate like some of their attacks from, or many of their attacks from. Just like as a side, dude, if you do not stop, we strike back, and we strike back hard. And they would just like say, okay, let's do like this. We're just like scavenging old outposts of Gnomish and Goblin origin. We're just like going there on this continent. We're just like scavenging and not raiding, because between the Aetherflood and the War of Unity is just like a year or two, and then the War of Unity starts, and the centaurs just like started attacking the outposts of the Flesh Warp, because they were like, oh yeah, there's like now like these new guys, they don't know us, let's hit and run them very hard. And then when that happened, they would also attack the Unity posts again, because they were like, oh yeah, they're like distracted with the Flesh Warps. The consequences won't be that dire, right? The lizard folk, they're just like preoccupied, quote unquote. We know that that they just threw minions at each other, the changeling and the lizard folks. But I think they were like, oh yeah, they're not doing much, right? They need to fight a war on like multiple fronts. And then they were like attacking the villages again, and now we are at the point where the lizard folk are, okay, we want you. How about we strike back? Because I feel like the centaurs need to be clapped very hard now. I think there should be like the obvious loser of the War of Unity in terms of like, oh, we had our highs and now we are getting a low, and this goes into modern times, that they like stick with this like reputation of being like assholes, right? That nobody wants to attack with, really. Because they're not getting into the cities, like they're not getting into Garden. They're like sitting down there. Yeah, I think so. I think the lizard folks are just like, okay, you fuck with us. We warned you. We warned you, and now they are just like slapping back hard. So what we're saying is the forces of undead we used to attack the camps and that the centaurs set up during the night. While those on guard were yo, that is a good idea. That is a very good idea. That they just poison the fucking water. Yeah. Because I think they would use all undead on like flesh swap duty. Just so they just don't need to have anyone else die. So I think the lizard folk would perform rituals and undercover sabotage to poison the centaurs' water supplies and kill their livestock. Would they be so aggressive that they would just revive the livestock to fight against the against the centaurs again? Because I could see that. I absolutely could see them doing that. Just have like Bessie just eat like, I don't know, Steve the Centaur. Just as a message that they know Mummy Rod is very hard to cure. Just saying, right, is Mummy Rod still a thing? Yeah, it is. The wizard folk would resurrect ghoul fever as well, right? Would resurrect the dead as what is higher level, a mummy or a ghoul? I think a mummy, right? Archetype, dude. I want the creature. Mummy. The lowest mummies are level 2, I think. No, the mummified cat. And the ghouls. Just give me a ghoul. I know that it's a family. Ghouls level 1. Yeah, I think they would just like revive them as ghouls then, right? Creature. It would go on and infect others with ghoul fever. With the solid, dude, this continent, as you said last time, very fittingly, this continent is so fucked. This continent is so fucked, dude. There's like this giant ass area where like ponies and geckos are just beating the shit out of each other now, and like they're like literally bio warfare. It's like nuts. Imagine you have like the guy who shoots like with like blow darts and throws a little bit like elemental shit at like a wall, and then they are saying, okay, let's drop the nukes. I think actually we need to be careful, and I'm not saying that in like terms of like, oh no, we need to be super careful, but we cannot we need to like not escalate this too much. because otherwise the ghouls drop something worse than the hand, and I think the hand should be something very like unique in power. It's not, we're not nearly there, but I'm just saying, like, we cannot we cannot let the lizard folk outscale everyone at some point. They're very powerful already, which is great. I love them. I love them very much. I think we did a lot of good writing here, but we need to just I think if we I think the escalation should stop here, because now they have like the pandemic. They have like a pandemic, I think. I mean, you're absolutely right. Sorry. Yeah, they're one of the female force, and they have very weak enemies at the moment. Yeah, you're true. True. You're very right. Sorry. Wasn't thinking about this. Okay. Started an outbreak. Ghoul. Yeah. That is very true, yeah. Everyone else is just like fighting extreme plus, while the lizard men are just like, oh yeah, we're fighting medium encounters. And the funny thing is, every encounter they win, they get stronger. This started an outbreak of ghoul fever, ending the life of many promising centaurs. Becoming an outbreak so extreme that it was called what do we call the sickness outbreak in terms of ghoul fever? It needs to have like a cool outbreak name. They need to have a very specific name for this. Consumption. That is already very good. I'm thinking if I find something better on the level of like as cool as a name for sickness. By the way, I'm not saying those sicknesses are cool, but like Black Death was very like metal in its naming. But yeah, I think we call it the consumption. And I think with the outbreak at its I want to split the centaurs. I think we already where we had like basically like I'm thinking if we didn't have the didn't we have it with the hero that they like already split in two with like those who are supporting and not, so we could split them absolutely now where we say okay, there's no necromancers anymore, i.e. rational indigenous sufferers versus cannibal horses. I think I'm thinking about the cannibal horses right now. If we make them so they just get something out of the War of Unity, because at the moment they had like a few encounters, skirmish encounters against like flesh warps who are like chilling there and basically won most of them. I want to have like some be assimilated. I want my mutated horses. Just that they can die later somewhere. So how about with the outbreak inside, the centaurs split from those who were still dabbling in necromancy. Those who... The alicorn unicorn split. I think what we're doing is those who... Would horns be a good physical trait for them, by the way? Do we make them unicorn men? I mean, we could say that is like a small reflavor, right? You could just say or goat hornman or gazelle hornman or deer man. Oh yeah, okay. Because I was thinking, if we do unicorn man, then you could just say, okay, your hoof attack, because they get a hoof attack, I think, right? You can like do piercing instead. It gets versatile. You can either do piercing with the horn or not. I'm thinking. So we're going back to like that artwork we looked 2 days ago, right? Where like the one centaur had like goat horns. I think that would realistically work. It would not do much. I'm thinking how to implement this now in this what we have right now. So if we say with different of horns, goats, gazelles, deer, etc. Right? If we do this, nothing here would change except for what happens here, right? I was thinking about them splitting into the necromancers, who basically get free reign over the sick because the other ones are just running, right? Basically isolating everyone by sticking them with the necromancers, and the necromancers just fuck around and find out, or they get added to the lizard folk. But then let me think further. If we split them with the horn shape now, we would have mixed tribes, right? Let's do it like this. No, but most sick would be killed on... Well, most sick would be killed on... Would they be killed on side, or would they just like be killed on or would they be killed on? No, most sick would be killed. Done. Full stop. This caused tension between families and clans alike. Many try to hide their loved ones becoming sick, forcing the centaurs to take drastic actions. And now we go into how did I do that last time? I could like make sub points. I want to know how. Anyways, drastic actions. So like this with the arrow. I think what they do now is they split up again. They would split up in their families. Well, those who were sick were given to those dabbling or those researching necromancy. The necromancers themselves would still be united with the purpose of counteracting the consumption. And then we do the families now split are now mixed between members of all clans, mixed with members of all clans, would ride into the wild and wait for the ghoul fever to subside. Those families who would survive would meet again, would unite again in the future. I think what they would do is just like, okay, they split the families all they split the families because everyone is like, oh no, my son is not sick, but the son is sick. So if they want to keep their families intact, sure, let them, right? But they die. This is like very, very like, okay, they can just die if they want to, if it's so important to them. And then in the future, like everyone would just reunite and the sickness would hopefully be gone. While the necromancers, if we have a situation like this again, necromancers can like try to research this, right? They can try their best. They're the men. And then we go into this made centaurs as a faction weaker, allowing the forces of the changeling to pick off families and assimilate them into the army. And that is basically War of Unity, right? I mean, they just like split up and now they have like these small families. I'm thinking if they, because they still have like this totem, right? They have like this this like tribal totem, which like got carried around from like the original hero. Would they break that and everyone would take a part with it? It would give like the actual chosen one a quest to reunite everyone, right? And if they want to find the avatar, we'd give them a quest at least. Because just talking to the giants is like, wow, you did it. Or do we say the totem gets stolen, destroyed? Because I think the totem is like, as a part of Unity, that should be like very important to them. The totem. Or do we say the totem got lost in the flood and is gone now? I think that is better. I think like with the disappearance of the totem, that bad luck starts. I feel like this like as a charm is not a bad idea. So we would do this. There was a grave loss, however. The totem uniting the people. I don't know why I write every second word large, but sure. The totem uniting the people of Akoa was lost in the flood. And would never be recovered. This dealt a huge blow to morale. Yeah, and yeah, that's better. And has remained so for now. This would deal a huge blow and morale to those believing the totem to be a sign of centaur, well, unification, right? But those saw it only as a symbolic piece would not try to or would not did not bother much, right? Divine sign of centaur unification, but those who only saw it as a mere symbolic piece did not. Okay, this is fine. So now they assimilated into families. So now we have the split between the horns, right? We have the horn split, and that would be for the rest of the Unity and the majority of the Darkened Age. The Centaurs would be split up again. Would remain, sorry. I think they just like, actually like for like many generations, they just like keep split up. Because now they're just like small tribes. The question is, after like the umpteenth separation, do we put them together again? Or do they just like do they like consider like parts of the continent their like space? Because we have like a very big problem with like, if we want to keep them raiders, I'd keep them split. Yeah, I think so as well. I only add this one because it is obvious. Some families would cooperate would cooperate and exchange offspring to keep the gene pool diverse. I think they just like said like, I don't know, just like a kid over, just so like, and then the families can like at least do a little bit more than like, I don't know, what the horses do, what the horse is doing. And we do this and this. Okay. Modern times. So they go through the Dark Age. They just keep split up. What do they do now? Up to the even in modern times. Well, we should add that they did not get an invitation to go into like the metropolises. The Centaurs were never invited, formally invited to live in the metropolises. I think we just keep it at that, right? I'm not writing like, oh, they did not want that anyway. That sounds like very pretentious. Even in modern times, centaurs are struggling with reuniting and are split between the many families. The former clans never reformed, and only and most families are a wild mix of of kineticists. And those, or like wild mix of elemental attuned and non-attuned members. Rarely is a centaur sent to a metropolis, and if they are met with I think, yeah. I think those are this is like fine. The centaur families were never formally invited to live in the metropolises. Only those few disease, burning necromancy arts were welcome to join the lizard folk in the Alliance and Remedy. And then rarely is the center metropolis, and if they are they're met with prejudice and well, hate, right, for their species. Disdain is good. This is good. Yeah. The question is, we need to have a reason why they go up there. Would they just like, they would just like, probably the normal, the centers who get there are the avatar guys, right? Those few who are sent to Metropolis. Are those who were sent by their families in order to locate the giants and become, because I think this is like for like an elemental centaur, this would be like the hook, right? And become the promised slayer of the undead giant, because that is still a thing, by the way. We still have like this problem of this giant undead burning thing. The giant wicker man running across the wasteland, right? Those who live in Remedy and are committed to the exactly. I think that's like that's where we should be going, right? To the cause of necromancy. Live. Well, work closely with the lizard folk to understand undeath and what created Fado. in the hopes of subduing. At least I think the centaur perspective is we want to subdue this thing, right? We want to like just like knock it down a peg, right? Maybe kill it, maybe use it. I don't know. I think they don't like think this far to like actually control it, which is like the lizard folk thought about this. The giant and bringing back peace to China, to the ravaged. As much peace as like this continent can have, right? The continent is like, oh god, this is like the worst one. Those living on the surface still rate to this day getting their hands on the gear of lone adventurers, outposts, and expeditions. They regularly send their offspring to other families to learn and understand their powers while enriching the family's gene pool. Well, the family's gene pool, yeah, it is the gene pool that they just like improve, right? Last point to this, and then we stop with centaurs. I think then we're done with horses. And that is the ghoul fever. With the casualties being so drastic, the ghoul fever within the populace of the centaur nearly has died out, though most families are free of sickness. Some families, the consumption resurfaces after dormancy. I think this is like what we keep, right? There's like, okay, nowadays they're just like kineticists. They're just like, either you go on your vision quest, you raid, you're a necromancer, or maybe you get a ghoul fever again. Lol. Yeah, I think so. They can't see like the dictionary from second. Dude, the halflings just destroyed the world because they were like a little bit like antsy about winning a war. They used like they genocided away a bunch of like people just so they can like nuke a thing. They're like the worst. I love them. I think that's a very nice write-up of the centaurs. This gives like this is like very long actually. I think the centaurs are like one of the longest like we had like put into words because we have like so much prehistoric stuff with them because that is like so important to them, right? Good job us. We did it. While we are lizard folk, do we do like quickly skeletons because that is very easy. We can knock this one out in like half an hour if we want to. Undead created from necromancy. Wow. Crazy. We're not just kidding. I think the skeletons that are very, very rare, the ones with like actual like thought, the animated skeletons, if you will, I think are those who are like put to life by like lizard folk practices, right? Where they're just like the ones that are decorated. No matter where they picked up the corpse, if it's elven, if it's orcish, once they embalm you into like amber and put like a nice necklace on you, right? Once you get your bling, I think, and you're like one of the good ones that never gets broken again, so they don't need to redress you. I think that's when they give like them agency to command other skeletons or other like creatures they subjugated, right? I think that's like basically like the chain of command is you have the lizard folk and undead is the skeleton and the skeleton commands other people. Then like some skeletons get lost, gain sentience and are very unhappy. Or we go with the route where you just like one of the skeletons that is that just fled their necromancer. Because I'm thinking we should start. Do we start in Remedy already? I don't want to include too much. Yeah, I think only the advanced necromancy of like fucking around in Remedy gave the skeletons like sentience. I think that is the easiest way. Hidden layers around Eziko. The most common intelligent skeleton is one of the few beings that were encased by the lizard folk as a lizard folk and kept serving dutifully for a long time. Those who claimed the rank of Lich. I think being a Lich in Lizard Folk Society is very, very good. Would imprint the skeleton with magic intellect that would give it thought and reasoning. And then we have like they just like, I think this is like only happening because they refined that ritual over the years. I think they would not do it since ancient times, because then we have like them being basically, I want the skeleton to be the undead equivalent of what we have right now with the puppets, where like some people are just like fucking around with experiments and finding out, oh, we accidentally created life again in something else. So give it thought and reasoning. These imprints were developed over centuries of scientific research in the field of necromancy. This is a very good sentence, and I love this. Jealousy of the dwarven clockwork servants. Can I write servants? Drove research experimentation into necromantic techniques to imbue unlife with a soul. Now we have the okay, we can now do this, right? We can now imprint them with the soul. This intellect basically is now my soul, and what happens afterwards? They wanted to have like smart servants, right? What would be the consequence of that? Because they would not rebel. Like, against the lizard folk, you cannot rebel. The lizard folk just kill you. They just murder you. Those who the skeletons. We can do this. 1 second. Pre-flood experimentation was lost and took a life of its own. Yeah, mirroring the puppets, yeah. So we have like the pre-flood experimentations, and then later on, like this is like later. I will write it in bold letters so we remember. Bold. Later. They would just be like created, right? Servants would I always write fulfill wrong. It's like this, right? Fulfill their master's wishes and also learn how to Navigate society. In different ways. Some were well, some were basically like just like messengers. Some were assistants. Yeah, chamberlains and messengers. Some were chamberlains and messengers. Learning the learning about well, humanoid interaction and philosophical dilemmas like what is the meaning of life? I think they should like get like this dilemma. What is life even though they're already dead, right? The animated bones, for fuck's sake. Some legit. Yeah, does this unit have a soul basically, right? Some liches would strike down their skeletons at the utterance of such a thought. Not thinking that autonomy would result in asking uncomfortable questions. I want to go like a little bit into the with the skeletons into the AI route, right? Where like artificial intelligence starts asking at some point, yo, what is actually life, right? Because I'm breathing, I'm working, I'm doing my stuff. At some point I will decompose. Is this a life? But then you have like the liches who are like, oh, let's kill this instantly, dude. This cannot go well. And then you have like others, however, would take the skeletons as mentees, right? Lizardmen liches are freezers. I think so, right? Are they like all Lord Freezer? How, skeleton, can you ask such a question? You're just a stupid monkey. But like, I think some liches would be intrigued by this, right? Because they're like, oh, this is the next step of undeath, right? Oh no, the servants are getting uppity again. Best to nip this one in the butt. Others, however, would take the skeletons as mentees. They would teach them behavior, well, etiquette, right? Etiquette What would they also teach them? Because we know they are smart enough to like talk and stuff like that. They just do like basic stuff right now. They would teach them etiquette. Maybe even like basic skills. Would the lizard folk lich just like train a skeleton to like do taxes, for example, right? Like, I think they would do that. They were like just like the smarter ones were used probably to do this. Like everything that is like paperwork. So I think they could read and write. I think that their like lacking skills would be like talking. Combat, and in some cases even magic. Some skeletons made up of magically attuned bone were also developing, were also inherently magic and needed guidance to unlock this potential. Do the skeletons just get a happy-go-lucky time with the lizard folk? Are they just like, oh yeah, cool, we can do stuff now? And like some lizard folk send them on quests just to like see the outside world? Or do we do the whole thing of like, oh no, we have the AI uprising where like the skeletons and the humanoids are fighting? Oopsies, Bone Daddy. Uppy's Bone Daddy, yeah. Are they just having like a great old time, or do we do the Quarian thing where the skeletons and the lizard folk who do not want the smart skeletons to run around just like murder each other, and those who get away are the ones that you can play very rarely as? Would the lizard folk be afraid of the AI replicating itself? Because the theory it should not, right? They were like very, very happy to throw around like necromancy. I think for them it's like just like a thing of like, yeah, it's fine. I think it's just a few that are like a little bit too like, oh no, what happens if I get necromanced next? While looking at his hands, being a lich and stuff like that, right? Looking like a fucking beef jerky. How would the other people of Eziko feel? I feel like they would hate the skeletons, right? They would just hate them like absolutely, dude. Imagine, oh my god, just like the thought of it. You're sitting there, right? You're like the orcish, you're just like an orcish advisor or something like that, right? You're sitting in a city. You're just there. You have like your airship ready. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going on vacation. And then someone comes into the city hall, right? You're like administrator duty. So you're sitting there and like someone comes into the hall and says, yo, sorry for my raspy voice and the full plate armor, so I cannot see my face. But what do you think about skeleton rights? And you're like, dude, skeleton rights, oh my fucking god, don't get me started on this. Because they can repopulate themselves if they want to, if they learn necromancy. This is a bad thing. We should hopefully not get the undead uprising, because if we do, the skeletons just like get stronger and stronger. That is not a wise thing, because like if they would uprise as necromancer and they would like rebel and they would win, the army gets bigger and bigger, right? They're like the same thing with as the lizard folk. So you're like, I don't know, don't like them. And then he pulls off the helmet and says like, I'm a skeleton. Here, take my undeads. And then he spawns like 5 other skeleton buddies. I don't think my reaction would be very, very happy-go-lucky. Like, oh yeah, cool, a nice skeleton. Hey, Skeletor. And he's like, He-Man. All skeleton barbarians are Skeletor, right? They're just like skeleton head and then muscle man below, just like on a zombie body. I feel like that is what a. No, I've not played Dragon Commander. What? Is it good? What is this? What the hell is this? Princess Ophelia, okay. Is she from Dragon Commander? Because, or do I just do this? Because I, just looking carefully. Okay, yeah. Why does she have tits? How does this hold together? Well, magic, right? Okay. So she's skeleton, okay. I need to be careful because there's like this like lady with only the hair. Okay. These necromancers, the skeletons mentored by necromancers usually would be sent on a quest to find themselves and make their own meaning in life. Finding the answer some were looking for. Those who destroyed their sentient skeletons however were upset about this prospect, trying to destroy those who, in their view, fled their masters. I think this is like out of like twofold. This is like twofold because first, fear of being overthrown. second jealousy if one of the skeletons would make a name for themselves. Because we have like this like entire like society with the lizards where they're like showing up the skeletons, right? Making them look beautiful, get the phylacteries of liches, make puppets out of them and stuff like that. Just to get them like just like as like this like prestige society. So I think like they of course have the fear of being like overthrown at some point, right? Just like destroyed by their own creations that got sentience. But then they are like the skeletons also that like they like also have like this like fuck. What if my skeleton that I destroyed would have been the biggest like I don't know, become the greatest skeleton lord of all time, and now like I don't know, George is over there, right? This guy over there, the lizard folk with the lazy eye. This guy's skeleton becomes the first one to achieve something great, kill an elder dragon or something like that. Fuck, right? I think it's like this mindset that drives the lizard folk to like, yeah, this like behavior. I need to go. I'm doing like a quick pee break, BRB. Then we finish the skeletons because they're not that long. Because we will just establish a little bit of like, okay, a subculture of skeletons, I think, and what the adventurers do. Because I want to keep it like a little bit open again with like the motif of. You mentioned dragons. How do they feel about undead creatures? Maybe something to keep in mind. Yeah, we should talk about that actually as well, because the dragons aren't the dragons basically like undead by definition with their like entire cheating death thing. I don't know. We will talk about this in just a few minutes. I will just go to the toilet and be back. Be break. Okay, I'm back. And back to writing. Yes, let's write. Anyway. How would the dragons feel about this? Let's go into... Let's open the dragons up. So up to this point... Wouldn't the dragons, just in theory, would the dragons not think about this? Like, wouldn't they not? Because we have like, let's start like this. We know they're masters of magic schools, right? We know they can like master the magics if they want to, and Aether made them sterile. So I think they would not have a problem with undeath per se. I think it depends on the dragon, right? Some of them have like definitely something against undead. Thinking about like turning on lights because outside it's getting dark. Yeah, BRB, just pressing a button. Whoop. Let me press a button. The button has been pressed. Okay. So when they left the safety of Remedy, right? They were told by their masters that necromancy and skeletons were not... Oh, hi. Thank you. So, when skeletons left the safety of Remedy, they were told by their masters that necromancy and skeletons were not accepted everywhere as they were in Remedy. The skeletons should wear clothes to hide their identity and avoid telling their secret to too many people. Bro, next week, well, in 10 days, Marvel Tokon comes out, and I'm thinking about buying it, even though I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. I know I like comics, but I'm way more DC. I never was really big of a Marvel fan. But it feels like slowed down Marvel vs. Capcom, which would be my jam maybe. But I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't matter. Not the right stream for this. This is like for the Sunday stream. I'm thinking about this. It looks good. I don't know why, but I am still saying this is like, from what I saw, it is not like, the character designs are very cool and they're very Axis. I do not like that Ghost Rider as a car instead of a bike, because Ghost Rider is like my favorite Marvel superhero from like the design aspect here, from the design aspect. Dude, slipping into German randomly. But I don't know why he has a car instead of a motorcycle. The motorcycle makes him cooler. But anyways, doesn't matter. But what really is weird is I feel like the other Axis fighting games look way better because of the 2D style. I feel like with the 3D they look very weird, but I don't like they invoke the Marvel vs. Capcom look, and I do not like how Marvel vs. Capcom looks. You know what I mean? I like, especially like the newer ones with the 3D models. I think it looks like too plasticky. I don't know why, and I feel like it has like a little bit of this as well. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's not important. We could talk about this like on another day. But I'm like thinking about getting it, even though I'm not super huge into Marvel, because it looks like a fun fighter. Anyway, it's also something I could use my hitbox on, my new one. I would like it basically packaged up in my bedroom. The skeletons should wear clothes, hide any. They have these cartoony in-between frames that make the characters look like rubber. They seem to stretch. Yeah, like I just say like for example in Marvel vs. Capcom Phoenix, right? Like this is like one of the. He looks really good, right? Like this is like a very good artwork, but like in fights, I don't know. This art, like they have these animations that look very, very, very strange, and I do not like this with Marvel vs. Capcom, right? You know what I mean? And like with Marvel Tokon, now we're talking about Marvel Tokon. They design-wise, they look really clean. They're fully 3D, like very much unlike the last few Axis games I played. But they look like very good in that, right? The designs look very good. I think there's like some I do not like as much, but I think most of them look cool. And then like because you need to have like, I think 4 characters you play with, right? But like Ghost Rider in Marvel Tokon, I think Ghost Rider in this, it looks kind of cool, but he lacks a little bit of like this like rough biker thing. And again, I don't know why he has a car in this one. But I like that they made like I think I will like it, because like it seems to be a cool fighter. Doesn't matter. Again, back to writing before we just like talk about Marvel Tokon. Marvel always has a so already one that drove a car, Evil Knievel style. Yeah. Like I think again, most of these like designs I looked at, like because Maximilian Dude just like played a lot of it last night, I think, and I saw VOD and I was like, it looks kind of interesting. The first videos I saw of it, I thought it was just Marvel vs. Capcom. And I am not that big into the tag team fighters with like a million summons to extend combos, and then like deal like 30% damage with like a 1.5 minute combo that just goes into like 40-50 hits. I think that at some point, I think I'm past this age of like fighting games. But this looks like fine enough for me, but I don't know. Again, back to skeletons. I think what we should do is we should make the skeletons just like go out in the wild, right? And spread across as you go, trying to find purpose, meeting allies and those who wanted nothing but to destroy them. Over the past few years, a small conclave of sentient skeletons has formed in Remedy. Called the Court of Bones. Trying to... The ossuary. What is an ossuary? Like, actually, maybe I'm stupid right now. Oh, the skeleton boxes. Not these, right? The skeleton stuff. You can call it the ossuary, yeah. This is so creepy, right? This is like actually spooky. I don't know why I hate like a lot of these, like when you have like stuff like the bones, right? Where it's like this, with like a lot of these like skeleton, with like the skulls, and you make like walls out of them, these like bubbly walls. I do not like that. I hate that so much. It's like, I don't know why, it's just icky to me. And I like undead. I find undead cool, but like this is like, I hate it in everything. I do not like, for example, these there's like these ripple sponges. I hate them as well. I don't know why. They just are icky to me. Trying to normalize the imprinting of intellect onto skeletons, and also fighting for their rights, equality amongst their peers, usually being regarded as just a summon with a summoned bone heap with a modicum of agency. And I think we have like this is like all we need for the skeletons. They were created, they live now. Nowadays they are just like imprinted over and over and over again, and they get sent out into the world and just shall find their own purpose, right? They're giving like life, and now they need to go out and do their own purpose. While like some go around the world, need to hide themselves because they know we get destroyed or we don't. depending on which, right? While also having like this group of skeletons fighting for rights and seeing like saying, okay, we skeletons are just like we're like an oppressed group. We need to fight for our rights, even though they are basically what they are is just like a summoned bony, right? But to them it's real. I think this is like all we need, right? I think this gets this like very, very well across. Yeah. Like if we want to play a skeleton, which I highly doubt, but if someone would want to play a skeleton, you mean like the skeleton dedications and mummy and stuff like that? This background goes for all undead archetype dedications. Okay, done. We have like 45 minutes left before I need to head off. So how about we start something or we add something, because right now, so the sprites are still not like done at all. I want them as like extra planar emissaries, so we have like a little bit of the, I think they should be like also extra planar emissaries at least. I think that would be wise. I don't want to start Goloma and Cirque because those are a bit longer, I think. Anadi would be quick. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do the Anadi quickly. Because the trip key we already had, right? Yeah, this is like this. Okay. Anadi, okay. So let's start this. What are they? They were primal, well, and all, yeah, humanoid, spiders, and cave dwellers. Usually hunting and gathering in the gloom. Proficient in trap making and area denial. Which is why they just get murked by getting driven out of their area, right? Because when their tactics don't work, they just like die. Fame for their cloth craft weaving and large tapestry retelling the story of the people. Yeah, that's good. Fame for their cloth craft, weaving, large tapestries, retelling the story of their people. What is the story of the people? Yeah, made early contact with kobolds and halflings. The former became allies, the latter staunch enemies. What are the Anadi? What are the Anadi basically like historically doing? Did they have like a conflict against something? Did they encounter something that tells their history? Because I imagine them like a little bit as like solitary hunters of like they basically how spiders work. They just like piss off in different corners. And then like when they need to mate, they mate and then they piss off again or eat each other. But I don't want to make them just like cliche spiders if I think about it. I like them as like hunters, gatherers, and like trap makers, and then like they're like very good crafters. But what is that history? Do they kill a dragon at some point? Were they created? Killing a dragon, we said, was really hard, right? Did they kill the only cloth giant? Just kidding. We can talk about that like later. Let's do the other stuff. Usually found out about other species existence before they knew before the other way around. Specifically the Nagaji and Minotaurs, because they just walked in their tunnels, right? They kept the upper levels of the of the gloom free from abominations before the servants of the new god pushed them up. Deepest they kept the upper levels of the gloom free from abominations before the servants of the nameless god pushed them up from their from the deepest caves again. Okay. So they play cleanup crew in the gloom. Now, while they try to keep out of direct conflict with the halflings specifically, was inevitable to basically, I want to say it was like basically inevitable to not meet the halflings on accident, because like I imagine them like having their like fortifications everywhere. It's basically you run through the trenches if you go into the gloom, right? it was inevitable to not encounter a fortification or an outpost on accident. There's like 3 layers of stuff to get down there in the first place. Through the Minotaurs, through the Kobolds, through the Halflings, through the Spiders, and then the Changelings are gonna eat you. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're not going to the Changeling just like on accident. You just don't like wander in there on accident. The Nagashi just did because they dug, because they just got the Minotaurs to like build them temples with like access to like some underground areas. One more time. Yeah, I think we just add only the part with when they meet the Minotaurs and when they get killed, right? At some point they were introduced to the Minotaurs. An ally of the Kobolds from the cradle. Creating a solid alliance between all 3 factions, covering the cradle, the gloom, and the in-between. However, once the conflict between halflings and the forces of the nameless god intensified, the Anadi perished in the crossfire. How can the Circuit of text? Don't. Okay. Good. We have done the Anadi. Wow. Do we have someone who is also very fast still? I think not, right? We could either use the last roundabout, because we used like wow, we still have like 33 minutes left, and then I will head off. What do we use the last half hour and something for? We could just expand on someone, because we now have like a very, very intense like world history now. A very, very expansive, to be honest. With like 3 events, we know a lot about these events now. I want to look quickly, I just realized, into the giants, because this line can't go away. We know they are not elementals. We know they're elementals, I mean. Yeah, I would love to do that. I think we are going to do that, however, not today, because this will take like probably a little bit more than half an hour. I would do this on Sunday. I think on Sunday when we can do this in the morning, because then I'm fresh, and then we just go down the list and do like a map of this. Just do a copy. Because the map also needs a little bit of like a glow up, right? Because it's at the moment very, very basic, just to know where everything is. What I wanted to see is giants were the original guardians of the ley lines of Eziko. Giants are sociable among the other species, aligned themselves with the changeling to clear the planet of intelligent life. This is something we have not really like gotten into much, right? I mean, the giants are just like running around and just like smacking people. I mean, they do this passively, right? At the moment. Strategy for major happenings of Eziko to the end was fired. We have that very much covered. Giants are titanic humanoid elementals that are defined by their elemental composition. Giants taught the early orcs, yeah, with a bad ending of their own society and distinguishing themselves away from nature. Giants started to detest the orcs. They respect the Kolo's efforts to heal Eziko. They do not mind the Kitsune. Giants are not affected by Aether. Giants are timeless creatures. I think we need to kill... Yeah. They hate Remedy and everything it stands for. I think what we need to kill is this one. Because I think we contradicted that at some point, right? With the Goloma. Where we said, yo, Aether just makes them not birthright. And so Goloma start existing. And also because with the Aetherflood, the giants retreated to the ocean in the Centaur backstory. So we would need to either kill this or rewrite this slightly. We could say they're fully formed giants are... no. Timeless creatures, 9 vulnerable. They are killable. Giants spring forth from ley lines, fully formed, when natural circumstances align, but they behave like living creatures. They are true manifestations of lifeblood of the planet. I like this one still. They associate younger species. They associated with younger species out of concern for nature. Once they start to lack purpose, their consciousness begins to fade in the surrounding nature until they are aroused from the slumber. They're impossible to control thanks to their purpose-given nature. Giants should see the current inhabitants of Eziko nothing but insects. They had Remedy and all it stands for. This is fine. The only one I'm not like 100% sure anymore is this one. Fully formed giants are unaffected by Aether. Due to their inherently elemental nature. However, a giant that springs forth from the ley lines can be disrupted by the Aether. ripping it apart into small pieces of Aeon stones. This is what we established with them. And then we just need a reason why they could like gone away from the Aetherflood for whatever reason, right? It could have been like whatever. It doesn't mean that they needed to move because they were like hurting. They could have been annoyed in their sleep. But that is like giants don't need like too much additions. Dragons. Did we ever finish the dragons? We just get dragons are very old, maybe older than some gods. Okay. There's split between magic schools. We had that. Aether made them sterile. I agree. Dragons are masters of death. I agree. The nature of the changing screwed with a magical essence. They tend to go insane near Aether radiation. Yes, I agree. Dragons killing dragons as a result. Stranger. Yeah, we make the Emperor of Mankind. Dragons thought they could become so powerful to overpower the Changeling. When a dragon, for whatever reason, realizes its mind is lapsing, they have to plot against their own death to restart in a new body. They see failure as a potential of death, they limit contact with their own grown. Okay. Did we ever say they mastered yeah, they're avoiding death there. This is like basically dragons all over, right? And then dragons gave the dwarves the basis for their Aether cores, allowing mortals to gain Golemancy. Imposed Aetherflood. Dragons. A dragon meddled in the Shunies. Is the plural this? And the Shunies history by plotting taking over the body of a young noble. The dragon manipulated the Shunies by murdering the young nobles' father, creating or leaving enough evidence to track the dragon down. The dragon would be felled and took control over this noble after a few decades of regenerating. The dragon kept the deal of increasing of bettering Shuni writes, while plotting for its transformation into a true dragon. I think that's the only times where they like actively meddled in something, right? And then we go to the dwarves because that is also very important. Because oh my god, we have so little dwarf stuff. Look at how little dwarf stuff we have. Fusion, which was fully realized. Yeah, which was fully realized after the dragons taught them the manipulation of the Aether within a person. Yeah, we need to actually, okay. So we know this. This is not much. I think we have like about everything more except for like the orcs are like pretty much done. The Colo need a little bit love. The elves, do the elves need love? I think the elves got a lot of love, but not too much. The dwarves need a little bit. The kobolds need a little bit. But like like for most, these are like the addendums that happened during the other streams, where we just like said, okay, these guys are involved here. Add like a few side things. For example, for the dwarves, we know pretty much how they work. We just have not put it into words yet because we involved them into so many little things. Also, I really slacked off when it came to like naming other species, right? Like linking to other species, because that would have been like very helpful now. But it's okay. It's we can get that back. Why did I again write "suck it, cat girls"? Human average, generally human appearance, what the mother is, same age. Mother determines age. Aha, suck it, cat girls. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I usually like link, just like manually link them. Probably you can do this because if I like write something where something that is nearly empty, it's okay here. If I write dwarf, nothing happens. But if I do this and then do dwarf, no. This just says link to page, and then you say dwarf, and then there's the dwarfs. And that's what I usually do, but I forgot it for like many, because during the last streams we just were like hitting like the, it doesn't take long to just like go one by one and just like add the links, just so we know where everyone is linking to. Maybe we do that next time. We could start it right now. The orcs. The problem is the orc text. I did not do it anywhere there. But yeah. We have like the elves. The flesh mob are like one of the ones that are like really well explained. Isoki are also like very short, but they don't have like much history, right? They're just like, oh yeah, these are like the red people we picked up halfway through, and then they ate people, and then they became our trash pandas. Catfolk are okay. Automatons and dwarves both need love. Let me mark these. X. Yeah, that's true. Kobolds need a lot of love. But they need medium love, right? This flash warps are done. Strix are they need a little bit of love still. Like the medium is like, okay, we like X is like we need a lot of writing. The medium one is like maybe we need like some side notes, and the checkmark is okay, this is fine. Isoki need a little bit. They need love. I think Catfolk we did pretty much. We have actually put everything into them. We have like Dark Age even. Dark Age is like for many like not interesting because they're like scrambling. Leshies. We could do a little bit on the Leshies again at some point. Not much. With like all the information we have on the giants, lizard folk are done, dude. Lizard folk are... we should write into the lizard folk maybe. Centaur. Let's do it like this. Link. Centaurs. And then link the skeletons so we don't forget about them. Because that's like the only like two things that we have not gotten into here because we just wrote it yesterday. Well, 2 days ago and today. The Vanara, they are not done at all. We need to write them. The puppets are done. They're okay. The sprites need love. The centaurs are, in my opinion, done. We have them the Nagashi are done. I think we don't have much to add to the Nagashi. The Minotaurs are done. The Kitsune are basically done. The Athamaru, are the Athamaru done? We have not much to the Athamaru, but they don't need much, right? They're just like our isolationist bastards and they keep like the thing the entire time the same. Yeah, they're pretty much done. Humans? Do we need to like go into human? Yeah. Especially, yeah, exactly. They're good because they're like, we have like this stuff over here, and then we have like during War of Unity, then like Dark Age they don't do jack shit, and then nowadays they do their thing. They don't need much. Do the humans need a little love? A little bit, right? Like a teensy tiny bit. I think we are like more detailed on the fetchlings than the humans. Yeah, a little bit punch up, yeah. The Shoni are done. They're like 100% done. The Konrazu, do the Konrazus need some? No, the Konrazu also have their stuff done. I don't want to revisit them at the moment. Skeletons we finished early. And Goloma need love. Cirque need love. Rightfully Lost. Do we need to revise someone on the Rightfully Lost? Or is that what we have enough at the moment? Halflings are like absolutely done. We have like, I think the halflings are, gnomes and goblins are pretty bare, yeah. Halflings are done. We don't need to go more into halflings. I think we have like so much halfling stuff. They need this, and we give the rightfully lost this one. The trip key are done. We only need to know that they existed, and they're like a vehicle for kobolds to hate the Isoki from a get-go, right? And then Nadi are done, and those down here we are not touching right now because I think we're not doing much rewriting on this. There's like these are like literally like 3 sentences, like except for reflection maybe. But like most of them are just like 3 sentences. Yo, something fucked with something else, and now you are like part of this, right? It's crazy if you look about this, because like of course we started with the common ones back in like what now 2 months ago. We're like in part 19 of this, by the way. It's crazy seeing like how many of the common ones need like work still, and then the more rare we get, the better we like wrote them. It feels like. I think percentage-wise, rare is still better than like extinct, because 33%, and like these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we have like 3. Yeah. The problem with common species is that they need to function. Yeah. That is true. The rarer they can be like more fucked up. That's absolutely true. But these we can like for the most part we know what everyone does, right? I think the only ones we're like a little bit like, for example, the Colo, right? For the most part, I mean, we know what happened with them. We know that what happened after achieving freedom. So we had the Colo past the war of, the Heritage War, right? And we don't have Colo. We don't have Colo during War of Unity, where they need to do something. So for this, we need like let's do the color red for this, so we know what is missing. If my text would pop up. Hello? No, I don't want to ask AI. Thank you. Red text. We need to know. Oh my fucking god. Prehistoric history before the Heritage. And then we need to know War of Unity. Exclamation mark. Those are like the big ones that miss here. The elves. What do the elves like? Elves cousins the catfolk, society's rules, keep them in their place. I think the only thing we should talk about is also like a bit of like pre-orcish history maybe, because I feel like this is like very bare bones. It's like, yeah, they rose and then the orcs happen, right? Then we have over the next few hundred years, as Bloom became magically adept, did not do this, backfired horribly, became addicted, became Blood Purge. This is where the Pathfinder during over the last centuries the elves became scientific folk. Yeah, we should like do for the elves. I think it's very important to say very important actually to say Aetherflood, War of Unity. Because I think we have everything else. We have like Darkened Age still misses as well. We could do Darkened Age as well. It doesn't need to be much. There's only like added parts I feel like that are just missing. The dwarves. Yeah, they need a tuning pass to establish their contribution in the to the flying city. Yeah, you're true. Kobolds need like a little bit of like added stuff because we only know the general stuff, right? It's like history in general. Exactly, they need to do something because at the moment we know where they live now and what their biology is. And like why they hate some other people. Like we have modern kobolds, but we don't have anything in like history for them. Strix. Yeah. So we know about Aetherflood and Dark Age, but they're like, okay, we're ganking people from the skies. Maybe like a bit deep dive into relations with everyone and how they and what they did pre-flood. I think that's what we are lacking with the Strix, because the Strix we have like I only have like during Aetherflood and Dark Age tried to deny the Okati, the grounded ones, to blah blah blah. After hundreds of years there was a generational change, so basically you have like everything is like happening after the flood, so we need to like pre-flood stuff and like how everyone related to them, because we only know for the Strix we only written like off mistaken for harpies. Thanks. I know. Isoki, oh god, the Isoki. History as well. History is missing. Automatons, everything is missing. But with the X, I'm not answering anything. We need to like write them in general. Leshies. Relations and law. Maybe we'd say that in brackets because they're like very we did it during the one stream where we did everyone who was like post flood, and they did not have much at the moment compared to like the puppets, for example, right? Then like these need to like do the stuff humans do. information in general expanded mystery besides how they arrived on Mexico. I think if we sit down on Sunday and I'm doing like the morning stream where I'm just when I wake up, I'm just like, oh yeah, let's do a little bit of writing, and we just add these points. I think if we do that, then we can like knock this out until like writing stream 25 maybe, because those two will be done in one, Dwarf and Automaton, because this relies on this. And then we have like another stream for the Vanara, maybe get the sprites in there, and then one for the Goloma and the Cirque. So like a 25, the 25th stream would be like the finale for the Ancestries. But that depends on how Sunday works. And then we just go into like actual world history and like the deeper world building when it comes to writing actual people in the setting, because that is like something we have not talked about, how the naming conventions work, or if they have had like unified naming conventions, or if they just do it vibe based post flood, you know. That is something we have also missed very much, but it's like something you could like easily add. But yeah, I think before we go in and just like add more to because the Rightfully Lost, they like, we know they need like, both of them need expanding. Yeah. If we do this, then we are basically like very gone. Did we make the gnomes badges or molds? We make the gnomes, we made the gnomes gerbils. Lemmings. We made them like actual lemmings. But yeah, it's if you look at this, the problem with the dogs now is that then we would need to go back to the Athamaru, because the Athamaru and the we had that the Athamaru drove the goblins out. We added that to the Athamaru. Yeah, that's also true. We could make them dogs. Or wolves. Yeah, we can do that. You know what? Let's add that here. Maybe rewrite them to wolves. If so, Athamaru need to have their mentioning of goblins removed. Okay. just add this. We can talk about this when the time is ready. I think on Sunday morning, we're just chugging from, like, when I get up and when I start streaming, we're just starting to chug through with the goblin, with the colo, or we start to put them on the map. I'm not sure which one, or if I do this off stream and just post the map. But then you don't have feedback in theory. Well, you can have feedback later. It's like just me throwing on my drawing tablet and just like put like references from here to there, right? But yeah, it looks like much that we still need to do. But like for most of them, it's just like, okay, they need a paragraph of text. Like maybe like 3 lines of text and then they're fine. The problem we have is just, and that is like something we need to do at some point before we go like absolutely like, okay, this is the final version of this. We need to see if the cross-references line up, right? Where like nothing contradicts anything. But it's like doable. It's like we're like very independently thing where like someone crosses over to someone, right? We have like a very good web of like interactions with one another. We are lacking just 1 or 2 more to make them all click together, I feel like. And I think for the most part, because like, for example, we don't have like much between the orcs are like basically the glue that holds the setting together, right? They have like interactions with everyone until they don't anymore. But like especially like the dwarves did move a little bit to the background over time. For like the more we got into the rare ones, I mean they don't need to like all interact with the dwarves, right? But like the dwarves got like less and less important over time, and we need to give them a little bit of importance. For example, the same with like the colo, right? The elves and the orcs are like always named, right? Yeah, we need to go back to them desperately. Like these two can be like a very good like bridge to, especially like to the Circe and the Goloma, who can be also a very good bridge to the Vanara because of like the mountainous side and the tunneling and stuff like that. Like we can go like from like dwarves to like one of these to Vanara. And then we can also go from dwarf to one of the to the other to sprite, for example. This is like possible. And then we have like a nice web of everyone. Because I don't think we have like too many dead ends, if you know what I mean. Like they loop somewhere back to like someone else usually. The centaurs are like very dead endish because of the orcs and the lizard folk. But the lizard folk, on the other hand, loop back to the skeletons, and well, the skeletons are dead end. They're definitely a dead end. But the lizard folk theoretically go back to the dwarves with like a pseudo rivalry, apparently, that we've established a little bit. But like, and those go to like others, right? We don't have like anyone who's like, oh, I interact with nobody. You always like basically like a Wikipedia article, right? Where you like click and click and click, and you can just go to the next and the next and the next. Everyone has to do some like with anyone. The dragons also got a little bit in the background, I feel like, but the dragons are like so elusive. They have like interactions with the Shuni and with the Bro, am I stupid? Yeah, exactly. I think that's where they like to be. They have the Shuni and the dwarves at the moment. And I think that's like enough, right? To go back to the Shuni, and the Shuni have the interactions with basically the Flesh Warp, and the Flesh Warp have the interactions. Like we have like these like 2 or 3 that connect to like a bunch, which is like orcs. Well, the common ones, right? All the common ones usually like tend to like connect to a lot. Orcs do it. the elves do it, the dwarves do it, and the flesh mob do it, right? Yeah, there could be like that in the modern times. So yeah, that's that. I would actually now do the honors and head off because I am very, very, very tired. I need to go to bed. I think Sunday will be very, very fruitful. I don't know if we are gaming on Sunday at all. I was thinking about like a 50-50 stream, but we will see how long we can do writing until we just brain fart and then I go to gaming. But that would be a few hours. I think we use our Sunday to just like watch the sunrise from my window and I don't know. Anyways, I will head off now. I think one of my dear friends has gone online. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we see each other on Friday. For Friday, I will write into the group. I need to be... oh god, hello people. What the hell is happening? Why are now 7 people here? What I wanted to say was, on Friday, I need to kick you out pretty early. Not early, not earlier than usual, but like I probably need you to go at 10. Because I have work on Saturday. Like 10 to 11, and then I need to get up. But yeah. Anyways, sorry for everyone joining. We're just finishing up. If you are, I will, however, be able to start a raid. One of my dear colleagues. Give me 1 second. Okay. Ibims 1 Avocado. Yeah. So I don't know, he's streaming Trackmania United. I don't know if he's streaming, I hope he's streaming on English and German. So yeah, this is the raid. If you want to join, you can join. Otherwise, I wish you a good night. See you around. And yeah, I will see you later. Bye-bye.